We've turned the corner. It hit a plateau. The difference comes when you get caught by a corner or you hit a rut. Guys, I gotta tell you that as far as trolling goes, it's whenever there's a person in the entertainment business and they're promoting themselves, they're getting trolled 9 times out of 10 because I think I'm better than them. And I can file a complaint all day and I'll win in the court of law X amount of times, which is 9 times out of 10. It's just I live in like this conservative town, and it's not even conservative, it's just normal. You live in a place like New York or San Francisco, you're gonna see lawlessness and shit on the ground and needles everywhere. As far as practicing civil disobedience, I just did as far as I could go. The principal, I'm not gonna get on camera, but I definitely is gonna make a movie where I learned a lot of what smug behavior is and know how to apply it across the board, because that's exactly where this is going. The non-violent part, you saw I'm not violent. It came out, if you watch the clips, that was never the issue. So we're living in the third dimension's time, the past, the present, the future. I was trying to get stuff on record so they could see anyone in the future where they're coming from.
This is not a dream.
That was the important part, where we did hit a plateau. But it's the lesser of two evils. A bunch of stuff to troll in a normal town. But again, this mental capacity, people think of it as the lesser of two evils. That shouldn't be existence. The physical capacity of this would be equivalent to 2 wrongs doesn't make a right. But then evil comes in all colors, and that's where it gets quantum. This is called the quantum third option. It's going to be simplifying this as the duration from here, and it's the race to the finish, because their technology has plateaued. So simplifying that, quantizing is the name of the game. And I don't believe a lesser of two evils. It's a zero-sum game, and fortunately, we're alive. But the unfortunate part is they're trying to make the ground alive. And by the ground, I mean the land, the air, everything around you is being blasted with this carbon initiative to meet a 2030 where I'll get into it later. What is that? And then the patents with filler that's put into, that's already bought off. And so turning your body into private property of a different entity, and then the whole world as one. The fight we're in to call what's alive. And so this is literally where it's going. So that's what we're going to be looking at as the upper end, the upper echelon of the lesser of two evils. So instead of a dead body rolling underneath like a small hill of snow from under it, this is like $1 million clubhouse, by the way. I asked if I could tour it, and the firemen were like, yeah, just get in the group. So there's red flags. This is a Saukville ambulance. Down the street is a Cedarburg water truck. And this is people, to me, disorderly, because this is not Saukville. This is not Cedarburg. And this car is always there. I mentioned this is $1 million clubhouse because they have nothing but excess vehicles. And the fact that, when I was mentioning earlier, you see a problem ahead of time if you know what slippery slopes are. I smell something funny, and it's kind of fishy to see different jurisdictions property in this one. When it's kind of warm out, but it's continuously snowing, you see at random a plume of snow, usually on a ledge, just drop randomly. And you can kind of see it ahead of time because if you have a keen sense on what is a slippery slope, you see it right before it happens. And it would be kind of scary if on like a small slope you saw the snow drop down it, but it was over a person who even calling on a phone and having bad customer support to orderly, because at any point in time, anything I'm saying can be considered a complaint and is disorderly conduct based off the complaint. They don't even have to be there. And that'll be used against me in a court of law any day of the week for the rest of my life. And when I mention something like there's different jurisdictions or the budget, God forbid, is off, I don't get an email back from a person running the budget. The chats are disabled. If I ask about like these vehicles that are from different towns, why they're here, I can guarantee you the department of the person would think it's none of my business because this is an expensive car, and what right do I have over the phone, or dare I say in person? You can't just walk into any building and ask to see the manager or the owner, especially if it's not a school and a principal, just because people have done horrendous things at schools. And every time I vlog, I feel like this is a point where people vlog before they do horrendous stuff, but it's just the aesthetic of this is so displeasing that in this day and age, if I did walk into a school and ask to talk to a principal with the secretary, all eyes would be on me. And this is the problem where ask any Democrat and they're saying you can't walk up to someone's door and knock on it and ask about their landscaping, their car out in front. They might think you have a gun. And this is why this hysteria with ADD being ran and exploding with autism is everyone's trying to find the answers to these simple questions. And it's always taken out a lowest common denominator of bad things happening because there's a few bad apples. Did you know that if you have a shoe-in sale, you're well off because you don't have to be in a dog-eat-dog world? And it's this whole deal is if you get this, you get everything. And this is what I mean by Freudian. It's actually like when they say, that is to say, 90% in football is mental. It's like in war. It's like 100% of war is mental if you're like a president because you're not even fighting in it. But no, but really it's like 90% in both scenarios. It's called a normal biasy. And it's like, here we go. This is two scenarios. It's not the fact that a hash brown is good. If it's okay, it isn't considered great. But just the fact that you haven't had one in so long because it's so hard to make. Because if you don't have a professional grill with an iron like sheet, in jail they make the iron sheet, it's a makeshift, as their bed frame, and they just heat the bottom of it. And it's actually probably better than a cast iron pan because those things are either too soggy or they stick to the bottom and they're fried and you never get a hash brown. So it's the fact that I thought that hash browns are good that I just had, not because they were good, it's just because I haven't had them in such a long time that it seems better than actually what it is. And here's one with liquidation. If this was the rain, I'd have a problem standing out in it, um, because I don't want to stand next to this door. The shop is just opening. All the workers are conjoining in there. And then getting a bike is a big deal for me. I've been walking everywhere, and it's not that I even care. It's just I've gone through so many bikes that, like, and I'm coming out of like a pickle. So I saw online that this tube for a bike is $7, and so if in here it's more than $7, I'm gonna ask why. And this is where you haggle, but it's not like this is over parts, and so it's you haggle over Christmas trees, and then if you're a car guy, you can haggle over parts. If you're a parts guy, you can haggle over parts. Other than that, you shouldn't really haggle. But it's in this case where this guy was standing over there. These are fine establishments. This guy was standing over there. He had an overhang over his head, and so that was fine because he's not close to the door, so he's not bothering the business if it's trying to open. I'm standing far away from this door because I don't want to bother the business to seem like I'm haggling them when I ask why, if it's more than $7 for an inner tube of a bike. So I would rather not be under the overhang and get snow on me, and the snow is wet if you're out here, as long as I've been waiting for 10 minutes, with whatever that might mean. But no, it's the art of the deal, I suppose, as someone said. I think it's 11.